The space station called Frontier Gate hung above a gray moon like a bright metal coin. It was not a rich place. It was a working place. Cargo ships came and went. Miners, traders, guards, and travelers lived side by side. Many species walked the same halls, but they did not always trust each other. On this day, the main court hall was full. The hall was round, with rows of seats rising like steps. A clear shield wall stood in the middle, separating the public from the court floor. Above, small cameras floated like insects. They turned and blinked, recording every face. On the far wall, a huge screen showed the words, "Trial Session, High Risk." At the center of the court floor stood a simple desk made of dark alloy. Behind it sat the judge. He was human, not tall, not strong-looking. His hair was dark. His uniform was plain. He did not wear gold or medals. Only a small badge on his chest, scratched and old, like it had been through fire. His name was Judge Elias Rook. He looked calm, but his eyes were sharp. He watched everything. He watched the guards. He watched the crowd. He watched the doors. A loud chime rang once. The crowd grew quieter. A station officer stepped forward. "Bring in the witness," the officer said. The side doors opened. Heavy footsteps hit the floor. 1, 2, 3. Each step sounded like a hammer. People leaned forward to see. She entered. She was a giant orc, taller than most doors, wider than two humans, with arms like thick cables. Her skin was deep green with dark markings. Metal plates covered her shoulders and chest. A long cloak hung behind her like a banner. On her belt rested a blade as long as a human leg. It was not just a weapon. It was a symbol. When she walked, the whole hall seemed smaller. Some people gasped. Some people whispered angry words. A few stood up, ready to shout. The guards tightened their grip on their shock batons. The orc did not look afraid. She looked amused. She stopped at the center of the court floor and stared at Judge Rook. Her eyes were amber and bright. They moved over him like she was measuring his bones. A clerk spoke in a clear voice. "Witness and champion, Grasha of the Iron Moon clan." The name hit the room like a spark. Many knew it. Iron Moon orcs were feared on the frontier. They fought hard. They kept their vows. And when they believed they were wronged, they came with ships. Judge Rook did not move. He did not flinch. He looked at Grasha the same way he looked at everyone. "Grasha," he said, "simple and steady. You are here because your clan stands accused." Grasha smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was a kind of smile a predator gave before it ran. "My clan is accused," she said. Her voice was deep, rough, and loud, like gravel, by soft mouths and shaking hands. A low murmur rolled through the crowd. Judge Rook tapped his tablet once. The screen behind him changed. A grainy video appeared, a cargo convoy in space, small ships moving in a line. Then bright flashes, a sudden explosion, ships spinning, a scream of radio noise. The video froze on the moment the freighter broke in half. 7 ships, the judge said, 2,000 tons of food and medicine, 6 dead, 12 missing. Frontier Gate is already short on supplies. This attack pushed people toward hunger. Grasha's smile faded. "Humans blame orcs," a man in the crowd shouted. "Orcs are thieves," another voice yelled. Guards raised their hands to silence the crowd. Judge Rook waited until the noise fell. "Order," he said. He did not shout. He did not need to. Something in his tone made the room listen. Grasha turned her head slightly, as if she heard a distant sound only she could hear. Then she looked back at the judge. "My clan did not attack your weak convoy," she said. "But I am here anyway, because you asked." "You came because you want to avoid war," the judge replied. Grasha's eyes narrowed. "War is easy. Avoiding war is hard." Judge Rook leaned back in his chair. He studied her face. He studied her hands. He noticed the small scars around her knuckles. Old cuts. Old fights. He also noticed something else. Her right glove had a worn patch, like she had held something sharp there many times. He spoke again. "We have a system here. On Frontier Gate, we use the law arena." A few people laughed nervously. Others looked worried. Grasha's smile returned, smaller this time. "Yes, the human game. Words first, then proof, Then blood if you fail. It is not meant to be blood, Judge Rook said. It is meant to be truth. Grash's eyes shone. Truth is a weapon too. Judge Rook nodded. Agreed. That is why we are careful with it. The clerk stepped forward. Under law arena rules, the witness may speak. The judge may question. If the court cannot reach truth, a final contest is allowed. The crowd shifted at the word contest. Grasha rested her hand on her long blade. She did not draw it. She only let everyone see she could. Judge Rook opened a thin folder. It was not paper. It was a clear screen sheet that unfolded in his hands. Lines of names and cargo codes scrolled across it. We have statement from survivors, he said. We have sensor logs. And we have one more item. He reached under the desk and pulled out a small metal box. It was plain, with a simple lock. Not expensive, not decorative, but it looked important. The way he handled it made the room feel colder. Grash's gaze fixed on the box. Judge Rook placed it on the desk. This was found drifting near the attack site. He opened the box. Inside was a broken badge and a child's data tag. The badge was bent, burned on one side. The data tag was small, scratched, and dirty. It had a simple symbol, a star with 3 lines under it. A family mark. The crowd went silent. Even the cameras seemed to hover more carefully. Judge Rook touched the tag gently, like it could break again. This belonged to one of the missing. Grash's throat moved. A tiny change. Almost nothing. But Judge Rook saw it. Her eyes did not blink for a moment. Then she looked away. It was only a second, but it was enough. Judge Rook did not accuse her. Not yet. He simply spoke. Grasha, he said, do you recognize this? Grasha stared at the floor. Her hand tightened on her blade handle. The metal creaked softly. No, she said. The word was fast. Too fast. A soft ripple of anger moved through the crowd. She lies. Orcs lie with their teeth. Guard stepped forward again. Judge Rook raised one hand. The whole obeyed. He did not look at the crowd. He looked only at Grasha. Under law arena rules, he said, lying in this hole is costly. Grasha's lips curled. Cost off of merchants. Judge Rook's face did not change. Then you understand cost better than you pretend. Grasha took one step closer to the desk. The guards tensed. Her shadow fell over the judge like a wall. You think you can trap me with small words, she said. I think words reveal more than people want, Judge Rook answered. Grasha breathed out slowly. Then she did something no one expected. She pulled her blade from its sheath. Metal hissed. The sound cut through the room. Several people cried out. Guards lifted weapons. The shield wall flickered. Grasha held the blade upright in both hands. Its edge reflected the court lights like ice. But she did not aim it at anyone. She turned the blade and placed it flat on the floor, right at the edge of the judge's desk. A vow gesture. In Orc culture, that meant a public bond. A binding offer. Judge Rook's eyes flicked to the blade, then back to her face. Grasha spoke loud enough for everyone, including the cameras, to hear. Human judge, she said. Your kind loves contracts. Your kind loves winning. So hear my offer. She lifted her chin, proud and fearless. If I lose, she said, I'll be yours. The hole exploded with sound. Shouts, gasps, laughter, anger, shock. Some humans looked thrilled. Some looked sick. Some orcs in the back growled in disbelief. Judge Rook did not move. He did not smile. He did not look pleased. He looked tired. And for the first time, Grasha's confidence wavered, because she expected hunger in his eyes, or fear, or pride, but he showed none of those. He stood slowly, not to challenge her strength, not to show power, only to meet her at eye level as best he could. No, he said. The word was simple. It cut through the noise. Grasha's mouth opened slightly. She looked honestly confused. Judge Rook spoke again, still calm. No one belongs to anyone, he said. Not here. Not in my court. Grasha blinked, shocked, like she had been struck without a blade. The crowd quieted, confused by his refusal. Judge Rook pointed at the child's data tag, still lying in the open box. We are not here for ownership, he said. We are here for the missing. We are here for the dead. We are here for truth. Gracia stared at him. Her pride fought with something else now, something like respect and anger and fear all mixed together. Then a new sound appeared. A sharp beep. The big screen on the wall flickered. The trial label vanished. A red warning symbol filled the screen. Bomb armed. A timer appeared beneath it. 3 o'clock. 3 minutes. The whole froze in one shared breath. Guard shouted orders. People stood up, panicking. Cameras darted wildly. Judge Rook did not shout. He did not run. He looked at the screen. Then he looked at Gracia. Someone wants us caught to bone, he said. Gracia's hand tightened around her blade. Her voice dropped low. Then someone wants war, she answered. The timer kept counting. 02:49. 02:48. Judge Rook picked up the broken badge from the box. He turned it over. On the back was a tiny mark, almost hidden. A symbol, the same star with 3 lines. His jaw tightened. He looked up at the crowd, at the guards, at the cameras. Lock the doors, he said. No one leaves. Not until we know where that bomb is. The officer hesitated. Judge, people will riot. Judge Rook's eyes hardened. Then they riot alive. Move. The officer obeyed. Judge Rook faced Gracia again. The giant orc still stood like a tower, but now her eyes were not amused. They were alert. Hunting. You offered me a vow, Judge Rook said. I refuse ownership. Gracia swallowed. Then what do you want, human judge? Judge Rook held up the child's data tag. I want the missing back, he said. And I want the one who did this. Gracia stared at the tag. Her mask of pride cracked for a heartbeat. The timer hit 2:10. Somewhere in the station, something was waiting to explode. And in the center of the court, a human judge and a giant orc stood on the edge of a truth that could start a war or stop it forever. The court hall did not feel like a court anymore. It felt like a sealed metal box. The doors slammed shut. Thick locks clicked into place. Red lights blinked above every exit. The warning screen still showed the same words. Bomb armed. The timer kept counting down. Guards moved fast. 2 ran to the control panels. Others formed a line in front of the crowd, trying to stop panic before it turned into a stampede. People shouted questions. Some cried. Some raised their phones to record. Judge Elias Rook stayed at the center of it all, calm like a stone in a river. He spoke into the court MIC. Sit down. Stay low. Breathe. We will find it. His voice was not loud, but it was steady. That steadiness spread through the hall. The shouting dropped a little. People still feared the timer, but now they listened. Gracia, the Iron Moon clan, stood near the judge's desk. Her blade still lay flat on the floor, the vow gesture still hanging in the air like smoke. Her face was hard, but her eyes kept flicking to the red timer. This was planned, she said. Yes, Judge Rook answered, and not by someone who wants peace. A guard officer approached. Judge, we have teams sweeping the court wing, but if the bomb is on the docks, we may not have time. Judge Rook's eyes narrowed. Then we do 2 things at once. The officer frowned. 2 things. We keep the law arena running, Judge Rook said, and we hunt the bomb. The officer looked like he wanted to argue, but the judge's tone left no space for it. Gracia's mouth twisted into a small, sharp smile. You continue a trial while death counts down. Humans are strange. Humans are stubborn, Judge Rook replied. The clerk raised her hands. Judge, under emergency protocol. I know, Judge Rook said. The law arena has an emergency path. He tapped his tablet. The big screen changed. The bomb warning shrank to the corner, still ticking. A new page filled the rest of the screen. Law arena, emergency rules active. A low murmur moved through the crowd. Many had heard of the law arena, but very few had seen emergency rules used. Judge Rook spoke plainly, using short words. Listen, he said. This station has many species, many old fights. We cannot solve every problem with force, so we use the law arena. It has 3 steps. He lifted one finger. First, words, statements, questions. Second finger. Second, Proof. Logs. Objects. Records. Third finger. Third, if truth is still hidden, the system allows one final contest. The crowd shifted at that. Judge Rook continued. Emergency rules change one thing. We do not wait. We move faster. We cut delays. We keep the core, truth. Gracia crossed her arms. And the contest? No contest if proof is clear, Judge Rook said. And no killing in this hole. That is the rule. Gracia tilted her head. Orcs do not fear death. This is not about fear, the judge said. It is about stopping the next death. The timer in the corner read 1:27. A woman in the seat shouted, "Find the bomb. Forget the trial." Judge Rook looked at her. The trial is part of the bomb, he said. People went quiet. A bomb is not only a device, the judge continued. A bomb is also a plan. A message. Someone wants us to blame the wrong side. Someone wants us to fight each other. Gracia's eyes narrowed. You think a third hand holds a knife? I do, Judge Rook answered. A guard ran up, breathless. Judge, we found a signal jammer in the hallway. Someone planted it to block remote scans. Judge Rook nodded once. Good. Remove it. Trace who touched it. The guard rushed away. Gracia watched the guard go. Your people are not all loyal. Neither are yours, Judge Rook said quietly. Gracia's jaw tightened, but she did not deny it. The judge turned to the metal box on his desk. The broken badge and the child's data tag lay inside. He closed the lid gently, then opened a new folder on his tablet. Back to the case, he said. The screen displayed a convoy route map. A thin line curved through space. Several points blinked red where the attack happened. Gracia, he said, you said your clan did not attack. Yes, she answered. We did not. Then you will not fear questions, Judge Rook said. Gracia gave a short laugh. Ask. Judge Rook pointed at the red points on the map. These ships carried food and medicine, not weapons. Why would anyone attack this convoy? Gracia shrugged. To weaken your station. To force you to buy from someone else. Judge Rook nodded. A profit motive. Gracia's eyes stayed on him. Humans love profit. Some do, Judge Rook said. Now the next question. He tapped again. A list of names appeared. Crew logs, cargo handlers, dock officials. The convoy was approved and launched from this station, the judge said. That means someone here knew the route and time. This was not random. Gracia's gaze moved across the names. Her face stayed calm, but her breathing changed a little. Judge Rook noticed. He did not push too hard. He spoke softly, like setting a trap with kindness. Orc raids are loud, he said. Your people do not hide behind shadows. But this attack was clean. Fast. Silent. Gracia stared. What are you saying? I am saying it does not match your style, the judge replied. For a moment, Gracia looked almost pleased. Then she caught herself and hardened again. Maybe we learn new tricks, she said. Judge Rook nodded, like he accepted it. Then he asked the next question. Do Iron Moon Orcs take prisoners? Gracia's eyes flashed. We take honor. We take supplies. We do not take children. The words came out too fast, too strong. The crowd reacted at once. Children, someone whispered. Judge Rook's face did not change, but his mind moved fast. He had not said the word children. He had only asked about prisoners. Gracia had answered with the truth she feared. The clock froze. The guards glanced at each other. Even the cameras drifted closer. Judge Rook kept his voice calm. You said children. Gracia's nostrils flared. She realized what she had done. You tried to trap me, she growled. I asked a simple question, Judge Rook said. You gave a full answer. The timer read 0:59. Gracia looked at the crowd, then back at the judge. She was angry, but she also looked conflicted. Judge Rook leaned forward. Gracia, he said, I am not here to shame your clan. I am here to stop a war. If children are missing, then the truth matters more than pride. Gracia's hand drifted toward her belt, not to draw her blade this time, to touch a small metal ring attached to her armor. A token. A vow ring. Her voice dropped. In my clan, a missing child is a curse. In my lore, Judge Rook said, a missing child is an emergency. A guard officer came back. Pale. Judge, we found something. A micro-drone in the vents. It has a clan mark on it. Grash's head snapped toward him. Show me. The officer hesitated, then held up the drone in a sealed bag. It was tiny, like a bug with a camera eye. On its shell was a painted symbol. Not the iron moon mark. Grash's eyes narrowed. That is not ours. Judge Rook studied the mark. A star with 3 lines under it, like the child's tag, but twisted, edited, sharper, like someone copied it and made it cool. He felt a cold tightness in his chest. That symbol, he said softly, is on the tag. Grasha stepped closer to the desk, eyes locked on the closed metal box. Her pride cracked again, just a little. Open it, she said. Judge Rook did not move at once. He watched her face. Do you recognize it now? Grash's throat moved. I have seen it. The timer read 041. Judge Rook opened the box. He lifted the data tag. He held it up so the whole hole could see. This tag belongs to a missing passenger, he said. Someone wants us to think the Iron Moon clan took them, but the drone mark suggests someone else is using the same symbol. Grash's fist clenched. A false banner. Yes, Judge Rook said. A lie designed to start war. The crowd began to whisper again, but the whispers were different now. Less hate, more fear. A young dock worker stood up. Judge, what if the bomb is part of the lie? It is, Judge Rook said, and it is also a test. A test? The worker asked. Judge Rook looked around the hole. If we panic, we blame. If we blame, we fight. If we fight, the attacker wins. They do not need to destroy the station. They only need to break trust. Grasha stared at him. Humans talk about trust like it is a tool. It is, Judge Rook replied. So is fear. The timer hit 030. A guard shouted from the doorway panel. Judge! We traced the jammer. It was carried by a court security officer, Unit 8. Unit 8. A group of guards stood near the left side of the hole. One of them stiffened. His hand moved toward his belt. Judge Rook saw it instantly. He pointed, sharp and clear. Stop him. Grasha moved faster than the guards. The giant orc crossed the court floor in 2 heavy steps. Her hand shot out like a clamp. She grabbed the guard by the chest plate and lifted him off the ground. The guard struggled, eyes wide. I was ordered. By who? Judge Rook demanded. The guard's mouth opened, but instead of words, he smiled. And in that same second, the bomb timer jumped. 029 became 010. The hole screamed. Judge Rook's heart hit his ribs like a fist. He did not run. He did not look away. He only spoke, fast but clear. Grasha, he said, keep him alive. Grasha snarled. Alive is harder. Do it, Judge Rook said. Then he looked to the officer. Cut all dock power. Seal cargo bays. Now. The officer hesitated. That could trap workers. Do it, Judge Rook repeated, or we lose everyone. The screen flashed again. Bomb location updated. Docks, Bay 4, 009, 008. Judge Rook stared at the child's tag in his hand. A vow, a lie, a bomb, a missing child, all tied together by one symbol. And now he knew the truth was not just in the court. It was somewhere in Bay 4, waiting to decide if Frontier Gate would live or burn. 007, 006. Grasha leaned close, her voice like thunder in his ear. Human Judge, she said, if we survive this, you will finish the law arena. Judge Rook's eyes stayed on the timer. Yes, he said, and if I lose? Grasha asked, still stubborn, still proud. Judge Rook did not look at her. He only held the child's tag tighter. Then you will be free, he said. 005, 004. The lights flickered, and the station held its breath. The explosion did not happen. At least, not in the court. The lights flickered hard. The floor vibrated once, like a giant hand had tapped the station. Dust fell from a ceiling seam. A few people screamed. Then the shaking stopped. The red warning on the screen froze for a second. 004, 003, 002, and then the screen changed. Bomb disarmed. Partial. The word partial made the room stay tense. Nobody cheered. Nobody relaxed. It only meant the worst might be delayed, not gone. Judge Elias Rook let out one slow breath. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He looked at the officer and spoke with simple clarity. "Tell me what happened," he said. The officer's hands were shaking. "Dock power cut worked," he said. "The bomb's main trigger lost signal. But our tech says there's a second timer inside. We bought time, not safety." "How much time?" Judge Rook asked. The officer checked his tablet. "Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe less." Judge Rook nodded once. "Good. That is enough to pull a thread." Across the court floor, Grasha still held the court security officer, Unit 8, up in the air like a small bag. The guard's boots dangled. His face was pale, but his smile was wrong. It was a smile with no fear. Judge Rook walked toward him. The public watched in silence. Even the loud ones were quiet now. When death came close, people often stopped acting brave. Judge Rook stopped in front of the captured guard. "Put him down," he told Grasha. Grasha looked annoyed. "He will run." "He will not," Judge Rook said. Grasha's eyes narrowed, but she lowered the guard to the floor anyway. She kept one large hand on his collar plate, like a leash. The guard looked at Judge Rook with bright eyes. "You think you won," he said. "I think you are early," Judge Rook answered. The guard laughed softly. "Early is fine. War will still come." Judge Rook leaned slightly forward. His voice stayed calm, almost gentle. "Who ordered you?" he asked. The guard's smile widened. "I do not answer humans." "Then answer the law arena," Judge Rook said. The clerk, still shaking, lifted the court. "MIC emergency rules remain active," she announced. "A witness in custody must answer direct court questions or face station penalty." The guard spit on the floor. "Penalty? Do it." Judge Rook nodded like he expected that. He did not threaten. He did not beg. He changed direction. "Your glove," he said. The guard blinked. "What?" Judge Rook pointed at the guard's left glove. "Show it." The guard hesitated. It was tiny, but it was real. His hand moved away from view, like a child hiding candy. Grasha noticed too. Her grip tightened. "Show it," she growled. The guard forced a laugh. "It is just a glove." "Show it," Grasha repeated, louder. The guard's shoulders dropped. Slowly, he lifted his hand. On the glove, near the wrist seam, was a small stitch mark. A star with 3 lines. The same shape as the child's tag. A cold wave moved through the crowd. People whispered again, but now the whispers were sharp, focused, scared. Judge Rook took one step closer. "That mark," he said, "is not a station unit mark. It is not Iron Moon. It is not any trade guild stamp I know." The guard's smile returned, but it looked forced now. "You do not know everything, Judge." "No," Judge Rook said, "but I know patterns." He turned to the big screen. "Clerk, bring up convoy log. Bay 4 access list. Last 12 hours. The clerk's fingers moved fast. The screen filled with names and access times. Cargo workers. Dock officers. A few security checks. Judge Rook pointed at the list. "Unit 8, he said. "You scanned into Bay 4 twice. Once before the convoy launched. Once after the attack." The guard shrugged. "I work security." "Not on Bay 4, the judge replied. "Your posted zone is Court Wing." The guard's eyes narrowed. Judge Rook kept going, still calm. "Why did you go to Bay 4? The guard's lips pressed tight. Grasha leaned in, her voice low and deadly. "Answer." The guard's jaw clenched. Then he spoke fast, trying to sound normal. "I was assigned," he said. "By who?" Judge Rook asked again. The guard stared at the floor. Silence. Judge Rook did not fill the silence with anger. He used it like a tool. He waited. He let the room feel the weight of the missing answer. Finally, the guard looked up. "By Chief Marshal Venn," he said. A ripple moved through the crowd. Chief Marshal Venn was head of station security. A powerful name. A dangerous name. The officer near the door frowned. That is impossible, he said. Marshal Venn is in the command ring. Judge Rook's eyes stayed on the guard. Is he? He asked quietly. The guard's smile came back, but now it shook at the edges. Maybe he is. Maybe he is not. Judge Rook turned to Gracia. Hold him, he said. Gracia nodded once. She did not need more. Judge Rook stepped back to his desk. He picked up the metal box again. He opened it and looked at the child's tag. The star with 3 lines. He turned the tag over. There was a thin scratch line on the back, like someone tried to hide a second mark. He tilted it under the light. A tiny number flashed. Not a name. Not a family mark. A dock code. B4-17. Bay 4, Locker 17. Judge Rook's pulse sped up, but his face stayed calm. He did not announce it yet. He did not give the enemy time to react. He closed the box and spoke to the officer. Send a small team to Bay 4. Locker 17. Quiet. No sirens. The officer hesitated. Judge, if Marshal Venn is involved. If he is involved, Judge Rook said, noise will only help him. The officer nodded and spoke into his calm. Gracia watched the judge. Her eyes looked different now. She was still proud, still dangerous, but she was also curious. You are not hunting with teeth, she said. You are hunting with patience. Judge Rook did not look up. Teeth break, he said. Patience bends people. The crowd murmured at that line. Some humans looked proud. Some looked uneasy. Orcs did not like bending. The guard on the floor spat again. You think you are clever, he said, but you are late. Judge Rook glanced at him. Late for what? The guard grinned. The convoy was never the main prize. Judge Rook's eyes sharpened. What was? The guard said nothing. He only smiled. Gracia's hand twitched. She wanted to hit him. The whole room could feel it. Judge Rook raised a hand slightly. Not a command to stop fighting. A command to think. Gracia, he said, in your clan, what does it mean when someone wears a false banner? Gracia's jaw tightened. It means they are cowards, she said. It means they want you to kill the wrong enemy. And what is the proper answer? Judge Rook asked. Gracia stared at him. You find the real enemy. Then you make an example. Judge Rook nodded. We agree. He turned back to the guard. You wore a mark that matches a child's tag, he said. You planted a jammer. You tried to force a war. That means you need a story to hide behind. The guard's smile faded a little. Judge Rook continued, voice steady, simple. Your story is that Iron Moon attacked a convoy and took prisoners. That would push humans to strike back. Gracia's eyes burned. We did not. Judge Rook held up the metal box. Then we find the missing. The guard laughed again, but this time it sounded thin. You will not. Judge Rook nodded. Maybe not in time, he said honestly, but you will talk anyway. The guard blinked. Why would I? Judge Rook pointed to the screen again. Because the law arena has one more part, he said. Proof. He tapped the desk. And proof does not care about your loyalty. A guard team report appeared on the corner of the screen. A live feed from Bay 4. The court could see it, because emergency protocol shared it. The feed showed a dark cargo hallway. Low lights. Metal walls. A locker row. A glove hand moved to Locker 17. The officer's voice came through, whispering, Opening now. The locker door popped. Inside was a small padded case. The officer opened it. The camera zoomed in. Inside the case was a compact device with wires, another bomb core, smaller but cleaner. And next to it, a child's jacket. A small jacket with a stitched star and 3 lines. The court hall went dead silent. Gracia's eyes widened. Her breath caught. The first real shock broke through her warrior mask. Judge Rook felt his stomach turn cold. The guard on the floor stopped smiling. Judge Rook looked at him. Where's the child? He asked. The guard's lips pressed tight again. But now fear finally reached his eyes. Gracia's voice dropped to a low growl. Where's the child? She repeated. The guard swallowed. Judge Rook did not shout. He did not threaten torture. He did something sharper. He spoke like a man reading the ending of a book the guard thought was hidden. You did not kill the child, he said. Not yet, because a dead child is only revenge. A living child is leverage. The guard's eyes flicked away. Judge Rook nodded. You see? Your eyes answer faster than your mouth. The timer in the corner of the screen reappeared, updated. Secondary timer active, 12:40. They had time. Not much, but time. Judge Rook pointed at the jacket on the screen. That jacket was stored with a bomb, he said. That means the child is linked to this threat. Not random. Not accident. He leaned forward. His voice softened. Tell me where the child is, he said, and you may live. The guard's face twisted. I will die anyway. Judge Rook nodded slowly. Then tell me, he said, and you might save a life before you go. The guard's mouth trembled. Pride fought fear. Loyalty fought survival. The room waited. Grasha leaned close to him, a shadow covering his face. If you lie, she whispered, I will know. The guard looked at the judge, then at the orc, then at the live feed of the small jacket. His voice came out rough. Bay 9, he said. Maintenance tunnels. Under the coolant line. Judge Rook's eyes flashed. Send teams, he ordered at once. Bay 9. Maintenance tunnels. Now. The officer relayed it. The guard breathed fast. But you are still too late, he said, because the real trial is not the convoy. It is you. Judge Rook stared at him. Me. The guard smiled again, weak but cruel. They want the human judge to fail in front of everyone. They want the station to see your law's weakness. Judge Rook's face stayed calm. But inside, a hard truth clicked into place. This was not just a crime. It was a message. And someone out there had decided that the best way to start a war was to break a human judge in public. Judge Rook looked at Grasha. She was still shocked. By the jacket, by the tunnels, by the lies wearing a familiar symbol. But her shock was turning into something else. Rage. Focus rage. Human judge, she said, voice low. When you find the child, the vow will change. Judge Rook's eyes stayed on the live feed. Yes, he said. It will. The secondary timer kept counting, and the lower arena moved into its most dangerous phase, proof that could save a child, or ignite a war. The court hall was still locked, but the real fight had moved away from the seats and cameras. It was in the tunnels. On the big screen, the live feed switched to a shaky view from a helmet cam. 2 station guards moved through a narrow maintenance corridor. Pipes ran along the ceiling like metal veins. Cool air hissed from vents. Water dripped somewhere in the dark. A small map in the corner showed their path. Bay 9, under coolant line. Judge Elias Rook watched without blinking. He kept his hands on the edge of the desk. Steady. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. Beside him, Grasha, the Iron Moon clan, stood like a statue with a storm inside it. Her jaw was tight. Her fingers flexed once, then again, like she wanted to crush something. The captured guard, Unit 8, sat on the floor with bind cuffs on his wrists. He did not smile now. He stared at the screen like he wished he could pull time backward. The secondary timer glowed in red. 11:12. 11:11. 11:10. Judge Rook spoke to the officer in charge of the rescue team. Quiet approach, he said. If they hear you, they move the child. The officer's voice came back through the speaker. Understood, Judge. The guards in the tunnel moved slower. Their light swept the walls. The camera shook with each breath. Then the feed picked up a faint sound. A small cough. A child's cough. The crowd in the court hall made one shared noise. Half gasp, half prayer. Grasha's eyes widened. For a second, the giant warrior looked human. Not soft, not weak. Just real. Judge Rook did not look away. You heard that, he said. The tunnel team stopped. One guard raised a fist, signaling silence. The other pointed to a side hatch, barely visible behind pipes. The hatch had scratches on it. Fresh scratches. The guard reached out to open it. A loud metallic clank hit the tunnel. The camera jerked. Someone had thrown something from the dock. A flash of white light filled the feed. The audio burst into harsh static. The crowd cried out. Judge Rook clenched his jaw. Flash charge, he said. Grasha growled. Cowards. The feed returned. The tunnel guard was stumbling, half blind. A shadow moved fast past the camera, too fast. Then a figure appeared for 1 second in the light. Not an orc, not a human guard. A tall person in a tight suit, face covered by a smooth mask. On the mask, painted in black, was a star with 3 lines. The figure pulled the side hatch open and disappeared inside. The court hall erupted in noise again. Judge Rook raised his hand. Order, he said. The noise dropped, but the fear stayed. Grasha stared at the screen, breathing heavy. That mark, she said, voice low. It is not Iron Moon. Judge Rook nodded. Someone is using it. The secondary timer read 10:02. Judge Rook turned to Unit 8. You said Bay 9, he said. You did not say they would be waiting. Unit 8's mouth tightened. Plans change, he muttered. Grasha took 1 step forward. The floor trembled under her boot. Who are they? She demanded. Unit 8 shook his head fast. I don't know names. Grasha's hand rose, slow, controlled. She did not punch. She only placed a huge palm on his shoulder and squeezed. Unit 8 hissed in pain. Judge Rook did not stop her. He simply watched, measuring the line between pressure and cruelty. Grasha leaned closer to the guard. If you lie, she said, your bones will sing. Unit 8 swallowed. They call it the line, he said. The thin line. Smugglers. Fanatics. I don't know. Judge Rook's eyes narrowed. Why target this trial? Unit 8 licked his lips. Because of her, he said, nodding toward Grasha. Because of you. If the Iron Moon clan and humans fight, trade breaks. Security breaks. Then the line sell protection to both sides. Judge Rook absorbed it. A dirty, simple plan. Break trust, then sell fear. The tunnel feed showed the guards recovering. They moved toward the side hatch again. One of them coughed hard. Judge, the officer said through the speaker, the hatch leads to a sub-tunnel. We are going in. Do it, Judge Rook said, and keep your signal clean. The camera moved into the hatch. The space was tighter. The walls were wet. The light beam bounced like it could not find a safe place to land. Then the camera saw it. A small bundle in the corner. A child. The child's hands were tied with soft cord. Not cutting, but strong. A small breathing mask sat over the child's mouth, feeding calm air. The child's eyes were half open, scared and tired. The court hall made another sound, this time relief mixed with pain. Careful, Judge Rook said. No sudden moves. Check for traps. The rescue guard reached toward the child. A click, a sharp click. A thin wire shimmered in the light. The guard froze. Trip line, the officer whispered. The secondary timer jumped. 9:11 became 9 o'clock. A penalty. Judge Rook's face tightened. They connected the rescue to the timer, he said. Every mistake cuts time. Grasha's teeth showed. They play games with a child. Judge Rook's voice stayed simple. Cut the line. Slow. Use the foam cutter. The guard nodded. He pulled a small tool. He sprayed a false hard foam onto the wire to hold it still. Then he cut. No click. No jump. The timer kept counting normal. 08:47. 08:46. The rescue guard lifted the child carefully. The child made a weak sound. Grasha's eyes glistened for a moment. She blinked hard, angry at her own reaction. Judge Rook watched her. He saw it. The pride cracking. The warrior mask slipping. Then the tunnel feed shook again. A deep voice echoed through the tunnel speakers. Not from the rescue team. From another channel. A broadcast. It filled the court hall too, loud and sharp. Grasha of Iron Moon, the voice said, you have shamed your blood. Grasha's whole body went stiff. She knew that voice. It was the voice of her clan leader, Warlord Dagon. His face appeared on the big screen beside the tunnel feed. A huge orc with heavy horns and a scar across one eye. He wore thick armor and a chain of teeth around his neck. The crowd gasped. The station did not have peace channels with warlords. This was an intrusion. A hack. Dagon stared into the camera like he could stare through space. You stand in a human court, he said. You let humans question our honor. You let them touch our symbol. Grasha's throat moved, but she said nothing. Dagon continued. You saw the mark. You saw the child. And you still stand there like a loyal dog. The word dog made Grasha flinch. Judge Rook's eyes narrowed. He did not like this. He did not like anyone pushing her toward violence. Dagon smiled. Cruel. Return to us, Grasha. Leave the court. Let the humans burn in their lies. Oh. He leaned closer to the camera. I'll face the old rule, he said. If you betray the clan, you die by duel. A deep silence filled the court hall. The law arena had rules. The station had laws. But the Orc clan had older rules, rules written in blood and pride. Grasha's fist clenched so hard her knuckles creaked. Her eyes burned. She looked at the crowd. Many humans watched her with fear again, waiting for her to choose war. Judge Rook kept his voice calm. Grasha, he said, you do not have to answer him. Grasha's head turned slowly toward the judge. You do not understand, she said. Her voice was low, tight. If I refuse, my clan will hunt me. Judge Rook nodded. Then we protect you. Grasha laughed once, short and bitter. Your station cannot protect me from 1,000 ships. Judge Rook held her gaze. Then we do not win with ships, he said. We win with proof. Dagon's voice cut in again. Proof? He mocked. Human paper tricks. Grasha, you were born for battle, not for courts. Grasha's lips parted. She wanted to shout back. She wanted to throw the blade and end the problem the way Orcs ended problems. But she looked at the screen again, the child in the guard's arms, small and shaking. Something in her face changed. She had entered the court proud, amused, ready to dominate. She had offered a vow like it was a chain she could throw around the human judge. Now she saw child used like bait. Now she saw a false mark used to start war. Now she heard her leader speak like pride mattered more than life. Her voice came out softer than anyone expected. That child, she said, is not a weapon. Dagon's eye widened slightly, then hardened. Everything is a weapon, he said, if you are strong. Grasha swallowed. The court watched her like she was standing on a cliff edge. Judge Rook did not speak. He let her have the moment. He knew if he pushed, she would resist. Orc pride did not bend easily. Grasha lifted her chin. I am strong, she said, but I will not be blind. The crowd drew in breath. Dagon's smile vanished. You dare. Grasha's eyes flashed. Yes, she said, because I saw the truth. Dagon's face twisted with rage. Then you choose humans over blood. Grasha shook her head once. I choose a child over your pride. The words hit the hole like a hammer. Some humans looked shocked. Some looked relieved. Some did not know what to feel. Judge Rook felt a slow relief, but he did not show it. Dagon leaned closer to the camera, voice like poison. Then the duel stands, he said. You will die by clan law. He raised a hand. Behind him, the shadow of warriors moved. Ships, troops. Tonight, Dagon said, Iron Moon comes to you. The broadcast cut. The screen went back to the tunnel feed. The rescue team was moving fast now, carrying the child through the narrow passage. Judge Rook spoke into his comm. Bring the child to Medical Bay 3, he ordered. Secure path. No public holes. Understood, the officer replied. The timer still counted. 07:12. 07:11. The bomb was still not fully solved. And now there was a second fire, Grasha's own clan. Grasha stood very still. Her pride had not vanished. It had changed shape. It had broken in one place and turned into a harder thing in another place. She looked down at her blade still lying near the judge's desk. The vow blade. Slowly, she picked it up. The crowd tensed. But she did not lift it at Judge Rook. She lifted it to her own chest and tapped it once, a warrior signal. Then she set it back down, this time not as a vow of ownership, as a vow of duty. Her voice was quiet, but the MIC caught it. Human judge, she said, I was wrong to speak of chains. Judge Rook looked at her. Then speak of choice, he replied. Grasha nodded, and for the first time her pride did not look like arrogance. It looked like pain. I will testify, she said. I will tell what I know, even if my clan kills me. The court hall went silent again. Judge Rook's chest tightened. He knew what that choice cost. He leaned forward, voice steady. Then we finish the law arena, he said, and we expose the real enemy. Grasha looked at him, eyes fierce. And after that, she said, I will face Dargun. The secondary timer kept counting down. And on Frontier Gate, the giant Orcs' pride finally broke, so something stronger could stand in its place. Medical Bay 3 was sealed. 2 guards stood at the door with weapons ready, but their faces looked more afraid than brave. Inside, the lights were bright and clean. Machines hummed with soft beeps. The rescued child lay on a bed under a warming blanket, breathing through a small mask. The child was alive. That one fact changed the air in the station. But the danger was not over. In the court hall, Judge Elias Rook watched the medical feed for 2 seconds, then turned it off. He did not want the crowd to stare at the child like it was a show. He wanted the child safe, quiet, unseen. The big screen still showed the red timer. 06:21. 06:20. The bomb core found in Bay 4 was real. The second timer was real. The station still had minutes, not hours. Grasha stood beside the judge's desk. Her armor was scratched. Her eyes were sharp. Her pride was no longer loud. It was focused, like a blade held close. You will finish the law arena, she had said. Judge Rook had agreed. Now he called the clock forward. Activate step 2, he said. Proof. The clock swallowed and spoke into the MIC law arena. Step 2 is active. All parties must submit proof. Lying is a major offense under emergency rules. Murmurs rolled through the seats. People were tired. People were scared. But they were still listening. They wanted an answer that did not end in war. Judge Rook turned to the captured guard, Unit 8. You said the group is called a line. He said, you said they want war. Unit 8's hands were cuffed. His face was pale. Sweat shone on his forehead now. They will still win, he muttered, even if the child lives. Judge Rook's voice stayed calm. Maybe, he said, but proof can cut their legs. He tapped his tablet. Clock, show the doc logs. All access records for Bay 4 and Bay 9. Include deleted entries. The clerk's eyes widened. Deleted? Judge Rook nodded. Yes, deleted entries leave ghost marks. Most people forget that. On the big screen, the doc logs appeared. At first, they looked normal. Names, times, codes. Then the clock ran a deeper scan. Faint gray lines appeared under the clear ones, ghost records. The crowd leaned forward. Judge Rook pointed. There, he said. A ghost record showed an entry at Bay 4 hours 7 minutes and 12 seconds. No name. Only a blank ID. But the scanner showed the device signature, a tool used to wipe data. Unit 8 swallowed hard. Grasha's eyes narrowed. Judge Rook continued. Someone wiped their name, but not their footprint, he said. Now we track the footprint. He turned to the officer. Who has wiped tools? The officer answered quickly. Security Command. High-level tech staff. And the Marshal. Judge Rook's eyes sharpened. Marshal Venn. The officer nodded, grim. Unit 8 tried to smile again. It did not work. You will accuse the Marshal, he asked. You will lose. Judge Rook did not react to the threat. I will follow proof, he said. If it points to the Marshal, that is his problem. The timer flashed. 05:32. 05:31. A guard ran in with a new report. Judge, bomb techs as a core is shielded. We cannot disarm fully without manual access inside Bay 4. Judge Rook nodded. So someone must go there. The officer shook his head. Judge, that area may still have traps. Grasha's voice cut in like iron. I will go. The crowd reacted fast. No, someone shouted. Orcs will blow us up. Grasha looked at them without blinking. If I wanted you dead, she said, you would already be dead. Judge Rook raised a hand for silence. Grasha will not go alone, he said, and she will not go for honor. She will go for duty. Grasha glanced at him. Something like respect moved in her eyes. Judge Rook turned to the officer. Choose one bomb tech, one engineer, quiet team. Send them with her. The officer nodded and spoke into his comm. Unit 8's eyes darted. He tried to shift on the floor. Grasha's hand pressed his shoulder down like a weight. Do not move, she growled. Unit 8 winced. Judge Rook looked at the guard again. Where's Marshal Venn right now? He asked. Unit 8 laughed weakly. In your command ring, he said. Like always. Judge Rook's tone stayed neutral. Officer, he said, show me Marshal Venn's live location tag. The officer hesitated, then pulled it up. The screen showed a blue dot labeled Venn. It was in the command ring. Judge Rook stared at it for a moment. Then he said, that is too clean. The officer frowned. What? A live tag can be spoofed, Judge Rook replied. Most people do not spoof them because they think nobody checks. Unit 8's face tightened. His eyes flicked away again. Judge Rook saw it. Calm questions. I answers. He tapped the desk. Clock, he said. Pull Marshal Venn's voice log. Last hour. Any outgoing calls? The clock moved fast. There's one, she said. 2 minutes ago. Private channel. Play it, Judge Rook ordered. The audio filled the hall. A deep male voice spoke in a cold tone. Move the core. If the judge gets proof, we change the ending. Then another voice replied. A rough, proud voice. Orc, Warlord Dargun. I do not move for humans, Dargun said, but I will crush my own traitor. The first voice answered. Crush her in public. Give them a show. The line will handle the station. The audio ended. The hall went silent like someone had stolen the air. Grasha's fists clenched. Her face turned dark with rage. Judge Rook felt a cold line in his chest. So it was true. A link between station power and Orc war pride. Two fires feeding each other. Unit 8 whispered. You see? You cannot win. The Marshal has the keys. Dargun has the ships. Judge Rook looked at him. Then we do not fight them like they want, he said. Grasha turned toward the judge. Dargun demanded a duel, she said. Clan law. Yes, Judge Rook replied. And that is a trap. Grasha's eyes narrowed. A duel is not a trap. It is simple. One wins. One dies. Judge Rook shook his head. Not this time, he said. This duel is being used to start a war. They want blood. They want cameras. They want your death to look like human weakness or human cruelty. Grasha's breathing slowed. She listened. Judge Rook continued. Simple words. Clear path. So we change the duel. Grasha stared. How? Judge Rook pointed at the Law Arena screen. We are inside Law Arena rules, he said. That means the station recognizes truth contests. A duel can be a contest of proof, not only blades. The officer blinked. Judge, the Orcs will not accept that. Grasha's eyes flashed. My clan will laugh. Judge Rook nodded once. Then we do it in their language, he said. He stepped closer to Grasha. You can still stand in the duel circle, he said. You can still face Dargun's champion. But instead of killing, you force a vow in front of witnesses. Grasha frowned. A vow? Judge Rook held up the child's tag again. This symbol is being used as a false banner, he said. We will prove it. We will show the dock logs. We will show the bomb core. We will show the audio. Then we use Orc honor rules. If Dargun denies truth in public, he becomes Oathbreaker. Grasha's eyes widened slightly. Oathbreaker is worse than killer, she murmured. Yes, Judge Rook said. In your culture, an Oathbreaker loses respect. Warriors stop following. Clans fracture. Grasha stared at him like she was seeing him for the first time again. You fight with law, she said. Like a blade. Judge Rook's voice stayed quiet. Law is a blade when used correctly, he said. And it does not need blood to cut. The timer flashed. 04:10. 04:09. A new alert appeared. Bay 4. Movement detected. Someone was near the bomb core. Judge Rook's eyes snapped to the screen. They are trying to move it, he said. Unit 8's face changed. Fear and hope mixed. Too late, he whispered. Grasha's head turned to the officer. My team, she said. Now. The officer spoke fast into his comm. Grasha, bomb tech, engineer, move. The live feed from Bay 4 came on. A dark cargo bay. Stacks of crates. Flickering lights. A small device on the floor, the bomb core, wired to the station frame. 3 figures moved around it. One was Grasha. Even on a screen, she looked massive. She moved careful and quiet, a giant trying to be a shadow. Beside her, a human bomb tech crawled on hands and knees, scanning the core. The engineer held a toolkit, face pale with fear. In the far corner, a 4-figure watched from behind crates. A masked person, star with 3 lines on the mask. The masked figure raised a small remote. Judge Rook felt his stomach drop. Remote trigger, he said. Grasha saw it too. Her head snapped. She moved like a missile. In 2 steps, she crossed the bay and slammed the masked figure into a crate wall. Metal groaned. The remote flew from the figure's hand and slid across the floor. The bomb tech shouted, "Don't move too hard. Vibration can." But Grasha had already stopped. She held the attacker pinned, but she did not keep smashing. She controlled her strength, like a warrior who learned restraint. Judge Rook's eyes narrowed with a mix of fear and respect. The bomb tech reached the remote and grabbed it. "I have it," he said, breath shaking. On screen, the masked figure tried to twist free. Grasha leaned closer, her voice low enough that the MIC barely caught it. "Where's your leader?" she hissed. The masked figure laughed through the mask. "You are already dead," they said. "Dagon will kill you in public." Grasha's eyes burned. "Not if I change the game," she said. She knocked the attacker out with one clean hit, quick and controlled. The bomb tech shouted again. "Core access panel is sealed. We need the master code." Judge Rook's eyes flashed back to the court. "Marshal Venn has a code," the officer said, grim. Judge Rook looked at Unit 8. "And so does someone who works for him," he said. Unit 8's face went pale. Judge Rook crouched in front of the guard. "This is your last chance," he said. "Give the master code." Unit 8 swallowed. I don't have it." Judge Rook nodded slowly. "Then you know who does." Unit 8's eyes darted toward a group of guards near the left side, Unit 8's own squad. One guard there had been too quiet all day. Judge Rook stood and pointed. "You, step forward." The quiet guard froze. Then his hand moved toward his belt. Grasha was not in the court, but the judge's guards moved fast. 2 tackled the quiet guard. A small device fell from his sleeve, an encoded key chip. The officer grabbed it. "Judge, this is a master key." Judge Rook nodded. "Send it to Bay 4, he said. "Now." The officer ran to a relay station. On the screen, the bomb tech waited, sweating. Grasha stood over him like a wall, protecting him from any other masked attackers. The timer was down to 02:58, 02:57. Judge Rook watched the red numbers fall. He did not pray. He did not panic. He used the last tool he had, calm, because he understood something now. This was a duel, not in a circle with blades and cheers. The real duel was here, against time, against fear, against a plan built to break trust. And if they won this duel without blood, then the warlords in the line would lose the story they wanted to sell. The relay chimed. The officer shouted. Key delivered. On the Bay 4 feed, the bomb tech inserted the chip. The core panel clicked open. The bomb tech breathed out hard. "I can disarm," he said. Grasha did not move. Her eyes stayed on the shadows. Judge Rook watched the timer. 02:31. 02:30. And he knew the next minutes would decide everything. Because even if the bomb died, the public duel with Dagon was still coming. And this time, the human judge planned to win it without killing, by turning proof into a weapon no warrior could ignore. The Bay 4 feed showed the bomb core open like a wound. Wires, plates, and a sealed timer module sat inside a metal frame. The bomb tech's hands moved slowly, careful as a surgeon. Sweat ran down his cheek. The engineer held a light steady with shaking fingers. Grasha stood over them, silent and still. She did not pace. She did not talk. She watched the shadows between crates, ready to move if another masked attacker appeared. In the court hall, Judge Elias Rook watched the same feed. The red time on the main screen kept falling. 01:44, 01:43, 01:42. The crowd was quiet now, not because they were calm, because they were scared enough to be still. An officer leaned close to the judge. "If the core has a dead man switch," he whispered, "we may lose a bay even if we cut the right wire." Judge Rook nodded. "I know." His voice stayed steady. "That's why we don't only disarm the device," he said. "We disarm the story." The officer blinked. "The story?" Judge Rook did not explain further. He turned to the clerk. "Open emergency broadcast," he said. "Station-wide. All public screens." The clerk hesitated. "Judge, that will alert the attackers." "They already know," Judge Rook replied. "I want the whole station to know too." The clerk swallowed and obeyed. A new icon lit up on the main screen. Emergency broadcast. Live. Judge Rook stood. He stepped away from his desk and into the open space of the court floor. Cameras floated closer. The crowd watched him like he was about to jump into fire. He looked into the nearest camera and spoke in simple, clear words. "This is Judge Elias Rook," he said. "Frontier Gate is under attack. A bomb was planted to start fear and war." A ripple moved through the crowd. Even the loud people did not interrupt. It felt like the judge was holding the room with his voice. "We have evidence," he continued. "We have a child rescued from Bay 9. We have a bomb core in Bay 4. We have a false symbol being used to frame the Iron Moon clan." He raised the child's data tag so the camera could see it. "Look at this mark," he said. "A star with 3 lines." He lifted his other hand and showed a frozen image in the tunnel feed, a masked face with the same mark. "This mark was used by the attackers," he said, "not by the Iron Moon clan." He paused 1 second, letting the image sit in everyone's mind. Then he did something unexpected. He opened a lore file on his tablet and held it toward the camera so the text appeared on the public screens too. The font was large. The words were simple, because Frontier Gate lore was written to be understood by many species. Emergency Clause 9, Judge Rook read aloud. "In a multi-species crisis, any person who attempts to start faction violence by false evidence becomes an enemy of the station. All groups must treat them as hostile. All groups must assist in stopping them." The hall was so quiet you could hear machine fans. Judge Rook continued. "This is not a threat. This is a binding rule. It was voted on by humans, orcs, traders, miners, and families who live here. It exists because fear can kill more than bombs." Grasha watched from Bay 4 on the feed. Her eyes stayed sharp, but her face changed a little. She understood binding words. Not human law, but binding words. In the court hall, Unit 8 suddenly started laughing again, weak and desperate. "Paper," he said. "Your paper cannot stop blades." Judge Rook looked at him without anger. "It can," he said, "if the right people decide it can." He faced the camera again. "Frontier Gate citizens," he said, "by this broadcast, you are now witnesses. You have heard the proof. You have seen the symbol. You have seen the logs and the masked attacker." He nodded to the clerk. The screen changed again. Dock access logs. Ghost records. The audio clip of the private call. The deep voice. "Move the core. If the judge gets proof, we change the ending." Dargoon's voice. "I will crush my own traitor." The hall reacted like someone poured ice water down their back. Judge Rook spoke over the reaction. "This proves a link between station power and outside violence," he said. "It also proves there's a third group using fear to profit." He lifted his hand, palm open. "From this moment," he said, "any officer, any clan member, any worker who helps the attackers is under station penalty, and any person who helps stop them is protected." His voice hardened slightly. "Marshal Venn," he said, naming the person clearly, "if you are involved, this broadcast removes your shield. You cannot hide behind a rank while the station watches." The officer beside him whispered, shocked, "Judge, you just declared war on the marshal." Judge Rook did not look away from the camera. "No," he said quietly, "I declared law." On the Bay 4 feed, the bomb tech's voice broke in. "Judge," he said, "we have a problem. The timer module is locked. It needs a biometric confirmation." Judge Rook's eyes narrowed. Biometric from who? The bomb tech hesitated. From the person who armed it. A low sound moved through the crowd, fear turning into anger. Judge Rook spoke into his comm. "Do you have a masked attacker?" Grash's voice came through, low and tight. "Unconscious. Alive." "Good," Judge Rook said. "Bring their hand to the module. Use glove contact. Don't remove the mask. Don't risk a toxin." The bomb tech nodded fast. "Understood." The timer kept falling. 00:58. 00:57. Judge Rook turned back to the public broadcast. He did not stop speaking. He made sure the station stayed in the same story. Truth, not panic. "This is what the attackers want," he said. "They want you to hate the Iron Moon clan. They want the Iron Moon clan to hate you. They want you to forget the real enemy." He paused, then added one line that hit like a hammer. "If we fight each other," he said, "we do their job for them." On the Bay 4 feed, Grash dragged a masked attacker closer to the bomb core. The bomb tech pressed the attacker's gloved hand to the biometric pad. A beep. The module light turned green. The bomb tech breathed hard. "Unlocked." Judge Rook kept speaking. "Frontier Gate," he said. "Stay calm. Stay in groups. Report any person wearing this symbol. Do not attack blindly. Let law guide your hands." Unit 8 shouted suddenly, "You can't control them. They will riot." Judge Rook looked down at him. His voice stayed calm, but his words were sharp. "I am not controlling them," he said. "I am giving them a choice." The crowd heard that. People looked at each other. Some nodded. Some clenched fists. The fear did not vanish, but it changed shape. It became resolve. The timer hit. 00:21. 00:20. On the Bay 4 feed, the bomb tech cut one final wire. He pulled the timer module free and tossed it into a containment box. The module blinked twice. Then it went dark. A new message appeared on the court screen. "Bomb disarmed. Full." For 1 second, the whole did not react. It was like everyone's mind needed time to believe the words. Then the crowd erupted. Cheers, sobs, relieved laughter. Guards lowered weapons. People hugged. Some sank into seats like their bones had melted. Judge Rook did not smile yet. He did not celebrate. He raised his hand again, and slowly the noise fell. "Listen," he said. The crowd quieted. They were breathing hard, but they were listening again. "This is not over," Judge Rook said. "The bomb was one attack. The next attack is a duel." Grash's voice came through the comm, surprised. "The duel?" Judge Rook nodded even though she could not see it. "Dargun want a public kill," he said. "And the line wants a riot. They will try again." He looked into the camera and spoke to the whole station. "Tonight," he said, "there will be a law arena session that cannot be ignored. Proof will be shown. Vows will be tested. The station will watch." Unit 8 laughed weakly again. "And the Orc will still say it," he whispered. "If I lose, I'll be yours." Grash's eyes flashed on the Bay 4 feed. Her voice came through, loud enough to silence the court. "Yes," she said. "I said it." The whole turned toward the screen. Grasha stood among crates, holding the unconscious masked attacker in one hand like a warning. Her blade hung at her side. Her armor looked heavier now. She looked straight to the camera drone in Bay 4. "And I will say it again," she said, voice steady, proud. "If I lose, I'll be yours." The crowd gasped again, but this time it was different. This time it was not shock from drama. It was shock from meaning. Judge Rook faced the screen. His voice stayed calm. "No," he said, clear and firm. "Not mine." Grasha blinked, stunned again. "Then why keep refusing?" she demanded. Judge Rook lifted his badge, scratched and old. "Because I do not want a prize," he said. "I want peace." Grasha stared. Her throat moved. Her pride fought her confusion. Judge Rook continued. Simple words, hard truth. "If you lose," he said, "you will not be mine. You will be free." The court hall went silent. Grasha's eyes widened like she had never heard that offer in her life. For the first time, her voice cracked just slightly. "Free," she repeated. Judge Rook nodded. "Free," he said, "and alive." In that moment, the human judge did something bigger than disarm a bomb. He disarmed the oldest weapon in the room. The idea that power meant ownership. The station watched. The cameras recorded. And somewhere, far beyond the hull, Warlord Dargon watched too. Because now the story had changed. Now the duel was not about killing. It was about whether a human judge could make truth stronger than blood, right in front of the whole frontier. The station did not sleep that night. Frontier Gate was quiet in the wrong way. Not peaceful, watchful. Whole lights stayed bright. Patrol drones moved in slow loops. Groups of workers stood together instead of walking alone. People checked public screens again and again, reading the judge's emergency clause like it was a shield. In Medical Bay 3, the child rested. The mask was off now. A medic sat nearby, eyes tired but kind. The child's small hand held the edge of a blanket, like it was the only safe thing left in the universe. The child's name was Lena. That name spread fast across the station. Not as gossip, as a promise. "We got her back," people whispered. "She is alive." In the court wing, Judge Elias Rook sat alone for 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. Then the officer returned with a report. "We found more of the line," the officer said. "Not all, but some. 2 were hiding in a cargo closet. 1 tried to run. We caught them." Judge Rook nodded. "Hold them," he said. "No revenge hits. No mobs." The officer hesitated. "People are angry." "I know," Judge Rook answered. "That is why we must stay clean." The officer left. Judge Rook stood and walked to the window strip that looked out into space. Cargo ships drifted like small lights. Far away, beyond the station's orbit line, new lights had appeared. Orc ships, not close enough to dock, close enough to threaten. Grasha entered the hall behind him. He heard her heavy steps before he saw her in the reflection. She stopped a few paces away, like she was giving him space on purpose. "You spoke to the whole station," she said. "You named Dargon. You named the marshal." "Yes," Judge Rook replied. Grasha's voice was low. "That makes enemies." "Yes," he said again. Grasha stared out at the distant ships. "My clan comes," she said. "Dargon comes." Judge Rook turned to face her. "Then we meet him with law," he said. Grasha's mouth tightened. "My clan does not fear law." Judge Rook nodded. "Then we show them a law they cannot ignore." Grasha took a slow breath. "The duel." "Yes," Judge Rook said. The duel arena on Frontier Gate was not a pit of sand. It was a flat ring of reinforced alloy in the main civic chamber. People called it the Circle. It was used for law arena finals when words and proof still left out. Tonight, it was full, not with cheering, with watching. Station citizens filled the seats. Orc traders stood with arms crossed. Human miners stood in work boots. Other species stood in mixed lines, quiet. Drones floated above like silent birds. At the edge of the circle, a long table held the station's proof. Dock logs, ghost records, the jammer, the mask, the recovered bomb timer module in a sealed case. The symbol, the star with 3 lines, was displayed on a large screen. Beside it was the Iron Moon clan mark. Similar at first glance, but not the same. The difference was now obvious. Judge Rook stepped into the circle. He wore the same plain uniform. His badge was still scratched. His hands were empty. Grasha stepped in behind him. She wore her armor and carried her blade, but the blade remained sheathed. She stood tall, proud, a tower in the ring. Across from them, a new figure entered. An orc champion with a scarred face and heavy plating, carrying a black spear. His eyes were cold. His jaw was clenched like a locked door. He spoke one name with hate. Grasha. Grasha met his gaze. "Kor," she answered. The champion was Kor, Dargoon's chosen blade. And behind him, on the giant screen, the face of Warlord Dargon appeared again. He was not physically in the station. He was on a ship, watching by live stream, surrounded by warriors. Dargon smiled like he had already won. "Frontier Gate," he said through the speakers. You host my shame in your circle. I will correct it. Judge Rook's voice carried through the chamber. This is a law arena session, he said. Proof is shown. Witnesses are present. Vows matter here. Dagon laughed. Vows matter to orcs, he said. Not to humans. Judge Rook lifted his eyes to the screen. You heard my broadcast, he said. So you know the station's emergency clause. Any group using false evidence to start war is a hostile enemy of Frontier Gate. Dagon's smile faded slightly. Words, he said. Only words. Judge Rook gestured to the table. Then look at proof, he said. The clerk played the audio clip again. Move the core. If the judge gets proof, we change the ending. I will crush my own traitor. The room stayed silent as the words echoed. Dagon's face hardened. Judge Rook continued. Those words connected you to a plan to crush Grasha in public, he said. And connect that death to the station's fairy. Grasha's chest rose and fell. She did not look away. Kor stepped forward, spear angled down. Grasha broke clan law, he said. She must die. Judge Rook's voice stayed simple. This is the trap, he said. A blood show to hide the real enemy. Dagon's voice cut in. Enough, he snarled. Kor, end her. Kor raised his spear. The crowd tensed. Some guards moved. The circle's shield shimmered. Grasha's hand moved to her blade. Then Judge Rook did something that made everyone freeze. He stepped between them. A human body between a spear and a giant orc. Grasha's eyes widened. Move, she warned, shocked. Judge Rook did not move. Kor stared at him like he could not understand what he was seeing. Human judge, Kor growled. I will not strike you. Step aside. Judge Rook looked up at Kor. His voice was calm and clear. This duel is not for killing, he said. It is for truth. Kor's lip curled. Truth is spoken after blood. Judge Rook shook his head once. That is how wars repeat, he said. We break the pattern here. Dagon's roar filled the speakers. You dare stop an orc duel with human rules. Judge Rook turned his face toward the screen. Yes, he said, because your duel is not honest. It is being used by the line and by anyone who profits from chaos. Dagon's eyes narrowed. Prove it. Judge Rook nodded. I will. He tapped the table screen. New data appeared. A ship registry. Dock entry pings. Fuel purchase codes. The line's courier ship docked here 3 times, Judge Rook said. Always under a false trade name. Each time, the ship paid fees with the same crypto chain. That chain is linked to a security fund. The officer stepped forward and spoke loud enough for the chamber MIC. The security fund belongs to Marshal Van. A wave of anger moved through the crowd. Not screaming yet, but a low growl of betrayal. Judge Rook continued. That fund also paid a private fuel transfer, he said, to an Iron Moon ship, not a warship, a courier, a message ship. Dagon's face stiffened. Grasha's eyes narrowed. Your messenger ship, she said quietly, like she was tasting poison. Judge Rook nodded. Money moved between station power and Iron Moon channels, he said. Not for peace. For a show. He looked at the audience. This is not humans versus orcs, he said. This is honest people versus liars. Kor tightened his grip on the spear. He looked angry, confused, trapped. Dagon's voice came colder now. Even if true, he said, Grasha still broke clan law. Grasha stepped forward at last. She stood beside Judge Rook, not behind him. Yes, she said. I broke it. The crowd held breath. Grasha lifted her chin. I broke it because the law was wrong, she said. It told me pride was more important than a child. Kor's eyes flickered. Grasha's voice stayed steady. If you want blood, take mine, she said. But first answer this. Did Iron Moon attack the convoy? Kor's lips pressed tight. He did not answer. Grasha pointed to the mask in the seal case. Did Iron Moon wear this mark? She asked. Kor's eyes flashed. No. Grasha nodded. Then who did? Kor hesitated. Dagon's voice thundered. Kor! Kor flinched at the command. Judge Rook stepped forward again, voice calm. Sharp, human. This is the real duel, he said. Not spear versus blade. He pointed at Dagon on the screen. Warlord Dagon, you are in front of witnesses. By your own honor code, if you deny truth after proof, you become Oathbreaker. The chamber went still. Even many orcs in the audience stiffened. Oathbreaker was a heavy word. Dagon's mouth tightened. His eyes moved, calculating. Judge Rook held the line. Do you deny that the line used a false banner? He asked. Dagon said nothing for one long second. Then he spoke, slow and cold. No. A ripple moved through the room. A crack in the war story. Judge Rook pressed the next question. Do you deny that your champion was ordered to kill Grasha in public as a message? Dagon's face turned dark. His jaw flexed. He could not admit. He could not deny without breaking something. Grasha's eyes burned. Answer, she said, voice low. Core's spear lowered slightly. He looked at Grasha, really looked. Not as a traitor, but as a warrior who had bled for the clan. Dagon finally spoke. Grasha belongs to Iron Moon, he said. She will return, or she will die. Judge Rook's voice cut through it like a clean knife. She does not belong to anyone, he said. Dagon snarled. She took the vow. Grasha turned toward Judge Rook, then faced the whole room. Yes, she said. I said, if I lose, I'll be yours. The crowd leaned forward. Grasha's face tightened like she was forcing herself to swallow a rock. I said it because I believed humans wanted prizes, she said. I believed power meant chains. She looked at Judge Rook. He refused, she said, voice strange, almost soft. He refused when he could have accepted. He refused when cameras watched. He refused when fear was loud. She looked back at Dagon on the screen. And now I say this, she continued, louder. I lost, she said. Not in battle, in understanding. The chamber stayed silent. Grasha placed one hand on her chest plate and spoke the next words like they hurt. I am not his, she said. I am not yours. Dagon's eyes widened with rage. Grasha lifted her chin higher. I am mine, she said, and I choose. The room seemed to breathe again. Judge Rook stepped forward. His voice stayed simple. Under Frontier Gate law, he said, no living person can be owned. Any contract claiming ownership is void. He looked at Grasha. Your vow cannot bind you, he said, because you are not property. Grasha blinked hard. Her throat moved. It was like someone had unlocked a door inside her. Core's spear lowered fully. He looked at Dagon on the screen, then at the proof table, then at the crowd of witnesses. Core spoke, voice rough. Warlord, he said, the line used a false banner. Dagon's face twisted. You dare speak like a clerk. Core's eyes hardened. I dare speak like a warrior, he said. War built on lies is not honor. It is weakness. A deep murmur rose among the Orc traders and watchers. Not rebellion yet, but doubt. And doubt was dangerous for a warlord. Dagon leaned close to the camera, voice like poison. Grasha will not leave alive. Judge Rook raised his hand. Station security, he said. Lock targeting systems on Iron Moon ships. Defensive only. The officer obeyed. Red dots appeared on the tactical overlay. Not attack locks. Defensive warnings. Dagon's eyes narrowed. He had expected fear. He had expected humans to bend. Instead, a human judge had made a whole station stand up. Dagon stared at the witnesses, thousands of eyes, many species, watching him. He understood something too. If he attacked now, he would prove the judge right. He would look like a warlord who needed lies to win. Dagon's mouth tightened. He cut the broadcast without a word. The giant screen went black. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the crowd released a slow breath, like a wave pulling back from a cliff. Grasha stood in the circle, shoulders heavy, eyes bright with something she did not know how to name. Judge Rook turned to her, voice quiet. You are safe here, he said. Grasha swallowed. My clan will still hunt, she said. Maybe, Judge Rook replied. But tonight, you are not alone. Grasha looked at him for a long second. Then she did something that surprised the whole chamber. She knelt, not as a servant, not as property, as a warrior showing deep respect. She placed her blade on the floor in front of him again. But this time, her words were different. Not yours, she said. Never yours. She lifted her eyes. Ally, she said, if you accept. Judge Rook nodded once. I accept, he said. Grosh arose. The law arena had finished. The bomb was gone. The lie was exposed. A war was delayed. But the biggest change was quieter. A giant orc had offered herself as a prize. A human judge had refused. And in that refusal, he had given her something stronger than victory. A choice, a future, and a new kind of honor that did not need chains.